Hello, I'm FPXToyCat, and it hasn't exactly been a secret that over the past week or so, I've been really into speedrunning Minecraft Bedrock Edition. In fact, this is the aftermath of one of my runs. It's the seed, it's one of the worlds I used to try and do so, and yeah, I actually got the world record this Sunday. I was really pleased at that, and we were going to move on to different pastures. We're going to try a few other speedruns and a few other categories just to have some fun, but then something shocked me, and that thing was when I went on speedrun.com/mcbe, and I saw that the set seed world record for glitchless runs was set by a guy called ICNKLD, and he got a time of 32 minutes and 19 seconds, blowing my 48 minutes and 14 seconds out of the water. There's also a person called El Triego who got 46 minutes and 58 seconds. That's understandable though, of course, but how exactly did ICNKLD beat the world record time by over 15 minutes like it's no big deal? Of course, I could say it's the fact that they're using version 1.5, a really old Bedrock Edition version, which has slightly easier trading inside of it, as well as a few other changes they were kind of using to their advantage. Of course, we could just complain about this and say it's not really representative of a real speedrun, but instead of being that person, I figure, why not try and beat this time instead? Why not try and cut 15 minutes of my own world record time, which is something I want to explain how we're going to be doing in today's video, because there's a lot of optimization needed to cut a third of a time, which was already a speedrun off the record. And let me explain how we're going to do that to beat the world record again, to reclaim my title. Also, by the way, funnily enough to me at the very least, this will allow me to beat the any percent time for not only, regular Minecraft without using glitches, but also it will allow me to beat the set seed using glitches for the console version, because that time is 35 minutes, which is funnily enough now higher than the time for the, using no glitches, because obviously that was using a later version. And basically I want to try and beat, two records in one go, and I'm going to be doing so on the exact same seed, because the easiest way would be to find a better seed, but I think this seed has a lot of potential left within it, and let me explain why and how that is, because I have been doing a lot of search over the past few days as part of my preparations for the All 4 boss run, and let me show you how those will help me beat Minecraft, just the End Dragon, in less than 32 minutes, as I intend to do. So yeah, we're going to start this run at the very beginning, because although you could probably simplify the entire thing by saying, what if we do everything just a little bit faster, I think we need fundamental strategy changes to how this run is going to go to take such a significant amount of time off the end, because we can take 5 minutes off the end by not dying to invisible end acid to just being better at avoiding that, something I can do with practice. We can take maybe a couple of minutes here and there off the time if we have slight efficiencies in my things like, oh yeah, chopping down this tree, that's going to be essential. It takes me a few more minutes than I really should to chop that one down. Stuff like, oh yeah, getting in here, knowing the exact number of stone blocks I'm mining. I always tend to overmine by a block. That takes away a few seconds here or there, realistically 2 or 3, but 2 or 3 seconds here, 2 or 3 seconds there, 2 or 3 seconds on the tree. Adding in all these sorts of times together might only result in like 10 to 15 seconds from the first 10 minutes, but if you keep on, making optimizations like that, you can get better and better. Something I saw a lot of people doing in the comments was being like, hey ToyCat, you actually run like depressingly slow here and there, and that's the interesting thing about this. Like we have a lot of spaces where we can improve. One such example of this, in my opinion, would be, getting from here, which is where I spawn and where I kill some animals, so I have food for the Nether, by the way, to actually being in the Nether. The closest Nether portal I can place is over there. The time it takes me to get from here to there, though, is close to a minute. This is something that is unavoidable as part of the seed. However, it might be avoidable by, instead of jumping across the water and trying my best to time jumps and stuff, what if instead I made a boat, which would take about 2 seconds extra to craft, but that boat allows me to dodge all of this kind of curving inwards, because swimming is less efficient than running, but boating is more efficient than running, and it allows me to take a direct route. If this saves me, for instance, 10 seconds and costs me 5 seconds, this is the sort of thing that can really help the run out. But the bigger items on the list, because, you can only cut off so many seconds off a run before you realize that you've got 15 minutes and you can't cut down, 1 in every 3 seconds just by making small efficiencies. So that's where stuff like this comes in, because once we get to this portal, usually what we do is we place a Nether portal in a particular region. In case you're curious as to why we always started here, it's because this lava pool didn't work for a Nether portal until I accidentally placed in just the right location, because where you place your Nether portal will affect hugely where it spawns, and to prove that point, allow me to right now, just make a Nether portal facing the wrong way. Because after so much testing that would lead to my Nether portal spawning up here and me having to jump down, taking significant falls, by the way, which kind of offset the benefit of having this along the run, after so many runs that existed like that, eventually something I found was all you had to do was place the portal the other way around. Instead of placing it this way, left to right, instead I started placing it this way around, and something to do with just the right location, something to do with just the way it spawned, means that instead of spawning up there, I spawned down here instead. It is wonderful the difference this makes in not having to take full damage, not having to get the food to cover that full damage, and being able to go straight into the Nether Fortress. And speaking of the Nether Fortress, another big change I intend to make is here in the Nether Fortress. Currently, I go straight from my Nether portal and I try to get to the Blaze spawner as fast as possible, because the Blaze spawner is where blazes spawn, and you need blazes to beat Minecraft. That's pretty obvious, right? But the thing is, you can actually find blazes over the rest of the Nether Fortress. It's just dangerous because you also find wither skeletons, which for the purpose of this run are nothing but danger. They're nothing but a waste of time. However, there is a reason to go into this Nether Fortress, and that reason is these chests. In these chests, you can find 4 gold ingots in this one, almost all of the time. Again, Minecraft Bedrock has weird glitches every now and then where it won't spawn, and then in this chest you can find 2 gold ingots. You can see this chest's even facing the wrong way. I don't know how these details happen, but sometimes they do. But yeah, we've got 2 gold ingots and a saddle in this one, and we've got 4 gold ingots in that one. Combine them together, you've got 6 gold ingots. This can equal out to 2 emeralds, which usually is just not worth bothering with. It's a bad way to get emeralds, and in this case, it's kind of borderline. I mean, the fact that it's free is kind of nice, but given that it trades for, we trade gold for emeralds with the cleric, this saves us emeralds in 2 ways. Because right now, say it takes us 52 emeralds to get all of the ender pearls we need, which is 7 by the way. What we have to do to get to those ender pearls is we have to buy garbage from the cleric. We have to buy 5 sets of redstone, which always hurts, and then we have to buy roughly the same number of lapis lazuli, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how we get to the next tier. But what if instead, and then we have to do that again by the way to get to level 4, so we can actually buy the ender pearls we need. But what if instead of having to buy garbage we didn't need, what if instead we could sell things that the cleric actually wanted, and selling 2 of these gold allows us to skip buying 1 lapis lazuli. It also gives us 2 emeralds, meaning it not only gives us 2 emeralds, but it also saves us an emerald in the long run, giving us 3 emeralds for the price of 2, and also giving us 3 emeralds for the price of free loot in our, Nether Fortress. This would effectively take the amount of, emeralds needed from 52 down to 49, a really nice bonus, but it gets even better than that. Because between my Nether portal exit, which is right over here as you can see, between that exit and the first village I always go to anyway because I need to, and it's on the way to everything else that I'm doing, in between those there is a desert temple, and going into the desert temple is about a 20-second detour that's not usually worth that much. But if I consider that gold is really going to be valuable, if I actually consider the trades of the thing I'm trying to trade with, bear in mind you've got a decent chance of finding gold here as well as sometimes finding emeralds. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that can obviously make and break a run. If we don't get emeralds or golden apples or things that will actually help us, admittedly the golden apple isn't that good, but if we don't get things that will help us like the gold or the emeralds, because in this case this is the equivalent of getting another 2 golds, again 6 gold is equal to 3 emeralds, so 3 emeralds right there takes us down to needing, again let's say it was 49 right now, getting 3 emeralds on average can take us down to 46, but it gets even better than that because we can reduce this emerald burden, the thing which is slowing us down the most, waiting for trades, all that sort of stuff. We can slow this down even more with another huge revelation. And that revelation is not the fact, by the way, that you can find emeralds, bread, as well as sometimes, if you're really lucky, even better stuff in these free village chests, of which there are quite a few. But that other revelation is the fact that we can get even more emeralds if we want by doing something I triggered by accident once. I figured it would be suicide to try and trigger the pillager raid right next to the village which I was trading with at the time, and I did it by accident in my world record run, and that's when I realized something quite astounding, because pillagers don't drop emeralds unless they're in a raid, but what if you were triggering a raid? Also, Jesus, there's a lot of these guys all spawning at once. But if we do trigger a raid, like we're going to do right now, which, by the way, it happens by default because the pillager tower is so close to the village. But if we trigger a raid while doing the trading to get some emeralds that we need anyway, that means we can find the pillagers, which will drop emeralds. Because again, we need to kill pillagers to get their arrows anyway, because when you kill pillagers, they sometimes drop arrows, as you can see by the ludicrous quantity left on the ground by the iron golem right here. But if I trigger the raid, not only am I going to contribute towards the iron golem's death, which, by the way, gives us 5 free iron. I think it's 4. Maybe I already had one already. But it gives us some free iron, which is wonderful. Actually, no, I think it is 5. So you get some free iron from the, the iron golem, which is great. But as well as that, we're going to get some free iron, and we're going to get some pillagers spawning in, which if they come to us, which they should do, because that's their entire goal, if we can find these pillagers, then what they're going to drop is some emeralds as well. I have 47 emeralds now. Now I have 50. They can drop a surprising number of emeralds each, and we can stay in this village, and we can kill pillagers pillagers, getting arrows and getting emeralds at the exact same time. It's a really, and also apparently in this case an iron axe, which we also, you know, kind of handily need. It's a really potentially dangerous way. Again, it causes us a lot of harm. It causes the village that we're going to be trying to trade with at the same time. We're obviously going to lock our villagers away. It's a very risky strategy that has a lot of downside, but we can kill pillagers to try and get a few more emeralds. So, you know, that's an easier way of getting emeralds than I would say certain other methods, given how fast it can be. But the real coup d'etat here, the real thing that I think is going to lead us to getting a much better time, and that is something which really I should have known from the get-go. It's something that I, you know, as soon as we found out that there is a Stronghold bug in Minecraft Bedrock that leads to sometimes Stronghold loot not generating correctly or generating differently, it's something I should have realized, like, wait a minute, what if that's a thing? Because again, while I was doing research for my 4-boss run, you know, this Stronghold has 4 eye offenders, which makes it really great already. It makes it like a 1% chance, slightly less I think, for this to generate. It's a really rare, really nice feature to find all of this generating. What makes it even nicer is the fact that every single run that doesn't have weird bugs, it could even include this one I haven't seen yet, every single run that doesn't have bugs, you'll find an ender pearl in this chest. Again, you can see how sometimes that doesn't happen, sometimes the loot just randomizes, and I don't know why exactly that is, but this happened on my first time in this Stronghold, and this led to me not realizing that there's literally a chest just over here, just behind where I'm digging, that usually contains an ender pearl. To prove this point that it's usually, you can see these chests are bugged. They're all facing the wrong way. I don't know how they all got mixed up or generated for each other or what went wrong here, but something is different with these chests, and I can prove that by loading up this seed again, literally 9 out of 10 times. Okay, same seed again. We're going down in the exact same area. We're going to go down in the gap between the 2 bits of grass where it was before. You're going to see how we end up in the Stronghold. The eye offender thing is constant. That isn't affected by any bugs right now. As you can see, exactly the same 4 eye offenders, but if we now dig down, you're going to see how, you know, this exact spot, we handily enough end up perfectly between where this chest gives us an ender pearl and an iron chest plate. This is what the loot will be 85% of the time. Every now and then you get unlucky and it generates with no, you know, no chest there whatsoever. Sometimes it generates with the wrong stuff, but when the chests are generating correctly, which is easy enough to verify, something you'll find is this chest also contains an ender pearl. Again, it didn't happen on my first time. It didn't happen on that run right there. If I was chest checking the Stronghold only once, which I did on my very first run, I'd have assumed that this, you know, this Stronghold has 4 eye offenders and a free ender pearl, effectively meaning you only need 7, which is great. But what if I told you this seed is so much better? Something I only realized because after realizing that bug, I decided to retest my Stronghold because it might help with the 4-boss run I was planning, because there is an ender pearl found right here, as well as an iron pickaxe. Not that we need it this late in the run, but it's a nice little bonus. And then if you can traverse the Stronghold, because I was only doing this because I was trying to find the bookcase rooms, but there's another one found just over here. And what's that? Another ender pearl in there. This is insane, and it's, you know, insane for a couple of reasons. One is because it's 2 ender pearls. That's saving us effectively, you know, like 5 emeralds apiece, but it's even better than that because, I mean, look at this right here, by the way. It's on such an easy loop to get. All I need to do is break 2 blocks because it's not properly accessible from the rest of the Stronghold, but all I need to do is be able to remember this. There's one over there, and then we run down the hallway. We avoid this right, we take this first right, and then we take another right. Again, Strongholds can be a bit of a maze. Memorizing this on the spot is hard. All I need to do is be able to, you know, frequently duplicate this, and then boom, we can, you know, ender pearl, iron leggings, iron pickaxe. That gives us 7 ender pearls total that we don't need to get from the game, and given that we get our ender pearls by trading anyway, that means we need to get 5 ender pearls by trading, and that is a crucial number that takes a huge amount off the game. But in case you're curious as to how that works, allow me to go up to the surface and show you why. Because right now, getting the villager up to the point where they'll sell you ender pearls is a big deal. It takes a decent amount of time. It takes, you know, 3 trade cycles, you know, 1 to get to level 3, then another to get halfway through level 3, and then another to get to level 4. But right now we need to wait another trade cycle, because once you spend 25 emeralds, by the way, to get your 5 eye offenders, the trade runs out. But now, since we only need 5 eye offenders, you know, or 5 ender pearls to turn into those 5 eye offenders, guess what? We can now significantly reduce the time required, you know, at the villagers, reducing, by the way, the number of emeralds required, another 10, which is actually quite huge, except it's actually more than 10, fun fact, because they go up in price to 1, reducing the number of emeralds needed by another 12. That's right, having 2 chests, which just happen to generate, you know, like 10% of the time, not with the loot that I thought they had in there, and therefore really should have checked before now. Having these 2 chests saved me 12 emeralds, and all it was just loot that was in front of me this whole time, but we hadn't found, because of the fact that, in case you're curious, the way to get here, you have to break through a part of the Stronghold that doesn't exist. It's separated from the rest of the Stronghold. You can't normally find it. You have to break through either here, or you have to break through here, which again, it looks like it's walled off, but it's not. And here is a reminder to, if you are doing any form of speedrun, always double check these things because sometimes Minecraft Bedrock gets buggy. But yeah, this is the biggest single source of savings. This will save us minimum 5 minutes a run. Here's the deal, right? Every single time I've tried to speedrun the end stuff, something's gone a little bit questionable. However, now we have a plan to get around that, and that simple plan is just to attack and that little nub under the thing. So yeah, basically, avoiding invisible end acid is simple enough. We just stare at the dragon and avoid all of her acid breaths. Anything that comes out of her, we're avoiding like crazy. But the other thing that we can do that we haven't been doing, this is a small technique that I have learned from the world record run. All you need to do if you want to avoid damage is just attack through the gap like that. As you can see, we take half a heart, but it has the exact same effect, but it saves us an arrow and also saves us this happening, I think. Except that time. By the way, isn't it cute that we got an endermite from that ender pearl? That was great. But we have to avoid this screen right here. We should not be dying in the ender dragon fight, and there's a lot of ways we can avoid this. There's a lot of ways we're going to be avoiding this, but we need to really focus on doing precisely that. Dying, you know, is a way to slow down the end, because right now, the dragon regenerates health. Again, it doesn't seem like its intended behavior, but we have to work on that assumption because we are doing the speedrun on the current version of the game. The reason it's so much harder for us to get to 32 minutes than a random speedrunner who tried, you know, pretty early on, because even though they're playing a version of the game which is by most senses of the word a little bit easier, involves a little bit less hassle, involves you know, like less you know, stuff going on, I think that what would be really fun is if we can beat Minecraft in a faster time than that. Beat Minecraft effectively in less than 30 minutes is what we're gonna have to do right here, and I think we can do that using modern tools, using modern stuff to our advantage. That would be significantly more fun, and that is what my goal precisely is gonna be. I'm gonna be using the raid, a brand new 1.14 feature. I'm gonna be using, or 1.13 on Bedrock. I'm going to be using the new trading system. I'm going to be using a brand new seed, which wouldn't work before, stuff like that, and fighting the dragon in her hardest form. And if I can do all of those things in less than 30 minutes, well, that would be something I'd be much prouder of, and that's why we're going to be aiming to do it tomorrow, in case you are curious, or rather on Thursday, just in case it takes me till Thursday to edit this video. I want to have one last stand at this record because on Friday I'm going to be gone for a little bit, and you know, I can imagine a lot of stuff's going to happen while I'm out there, but I want to show how we can beat a record which uses a easier version of the game using the modern stuff. I want to prove that's possible. I want to show what I believe so much and what this channel is all about, that Minecraft changes all the time, but it gets better as a result of those changes, and we should embrace those changes. And you know, playing the current version of the game shouldn't be a dirty thing like, oh, it was better before. No, Minecraft's the best it has ever been right now, and let's prove that in speedrunning form before, you know, leaving the category and moving on to all of the other things which I of course want to do. You know, again, all 4 bus speedrun, it's going to come eventually. I want to totally get that one nailed down. But for now, let's make our last stand on the Minecraft any percent glitchless speedrun. I'll see you in the live stream Thursday, like 9-ish PM UK time. Google what that is in your time zone if you want to come join along. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully all of you are too, because I'll see you there. Goodbye.